Good evening, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to Cambodia Global Dialogue of Southeast Asia TV. Tonight I have the pleasure to have a good friend, Sarah, from the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. Everybody knows the IMF. And I have the pleasure to invite her to come and share with us a bit what is her perspective on the global economy and the regional economy, but foremost on the Cambodian economy, and I think you're going to enjoy the session. Anyway, Sarah, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, but before we start, since this is your first time, right, I'd like to give you a few minutes so that you can tell a bit about yourself, the organization a bit, to the audience here.
Okay, thank you. So I'm from China.
Yes.
I'm Chinese. I joined the IMF in 2006 after completing my PhD degree in economics.
Okay.
So in IMF...
From
University of California, Los Angeles.
Okay. Oh, UCLA, yes.
Yes.
Everybody know UCLA.
Okay, thank you. So in IMF, I worked in 3 departments. Prior to Cambodian,
yes.
I joined the Cambodian Resident Representative Office last July. Before that, I worked in the Asia Pacific Department of IMF.
Headquarters?
Headquarters, Washington, D.C. So I work in regional economic outlook. I worked on other emerging market countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, and some Pacific Island countries such as Samoa. Before APD, Asia Pacific Department, I work on ICD, called Institute of Capacity Development. So I help to train the country officials from various places. So as a Chinese, I really feel home while I'm here in Cambodia. Personally and professionally, I do enjoy this assignment very much.
You enjoy the food too?
Definitely, because when I grew up in China, the most famous foreigner is King Siphana.
Okay.
I think he's the only foreigner I know. Yes. So whenever there's a big celebration, he always shows up in the TV.
Yes, all right.
So, Cambodia has a special place in my heart, and it's so close to home. In terms of my institution, called IMF, International Monetary Fund, I just want to give you a quick snapshot. So it's established in 1944, right after the World War II and the Great Depression. So when the country leaders, they get together to form this institution to promote trade, to promote economic growth. So originally there are only 44 members. By 2016 we have 188 members. So almost universal representation.
Out of 188 out of 190 something?
Yes. So
I would say it's pretty universal.
You can say that. So our mandate is economic and financial stability.
Yes.
So we complement other UN agencies like World Bank, IO, so our job is provide a collaboration platform for multilateral cooperation. Our main job's 3 parts. There's surveillance, lending, technical assistance. So let me put them in a more plain language.
Sure,
So for surveillance,
for non-economists.
For surveillance, like you can consider us like economic doctor. We do this annual checkup, economic checkup, comprehensive economic checkup, like we do for Cambodia. It's annual. We call it Article 4 consultation. The team visit Cambodia from Washington, D.C. We talk to various stakeholders. We talk to senior minister. We talk to
finance.
Senior minister of economic finance. We talk to other senior officials in the ministry, the government, central bank, private community, and donors. So a lot of conversations, meetings. We conduct this economic assessment of Cambodia, and we held policy discussions with policy makers. So that's surveillance. That's bilateral. We also have a multilateral and regional surveillance. For the second major role of Cambodia, of IMF, is lending. we call it also financial assistance.
Okay.
You can consider us like a global firefighter.
Okay.
So global firefighter, like we produce the public good of economic financial stability. When some countries in crisis, in short-term balance of payment, need, we provide financial assistance.
Okay.
Like you must have seen what we have done in
the past,
in Europe. The third role is actually it's a little bit invisible, but highly valued and appreciated by member countries is capacity development.
Okay.
So we help the member countries to develop institutions and human capital, so they can carry out the policy advice we give.
Yeah.
So that's a quick snapshot of IMF.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty good for. It's good refresher. So you've been in Cambodia for about a year already, right? A year? No, more than a year.
And 3 months.
Okay. So honeymoon's over. You're working now. Good. Well, I want to, before we get to Cambodia, Cambodia now is fully integrated in the ASEAN community, ASEAN economic community. We're not anymore an island now. Everything that's happening somewhere else will have some consequence with Cambodia. But a lot of people talk about Brexit. I mean, we have some trade relation with the UK, but I don't think there's a major concern. Well, what do you think of that?
That's a good question. So the global environment.
Yes.
The message is 3 tools. It's a global growth being too low.
Yes.
Or too long, and rich too few.
Okay.
So that's
too low.
For too long. And rich too few.
And too few. Okay.
Yeah. So you can see the emerging market countries start to recover.
Yes.
Like Russia and Brazil.
Yeah.
Basically, they out of crisis, depression.
Yes.
But for the advanced economy, they're still struggling and growth very weak. They reflect some ongoing transitions in the global economic environment, like United States monetary policy, like also China's transition.
Yes.
As well as the commodity price.
Yes.
So those growth prospects reflect those ongoing challenges. Also, some long-term trends shape the economic outlook, like the demographics, the productivity, and the trade. Now, including geopolitics. So a lot of variables or factors affect the global outlook. Brexit, actually, the impact is limited compared to the expectation.
Yes.
That's good. In terms of its impact to Cambodia, I can cover it now. It's part of Cambodian economic, development. Cambodia has the highest exposure to UK. Actually, there's export to UK like 6% of GDP.
Okay,
Cambodia.
Wow.
So it's a big part.
I didn't know that.
But our preliminary analysis found that the shock from the UK exit won't affect the Cambodian export that much.
But the pound is now quite weak, right? So.
Yeah, because what Cambodian export to UK majority is a low cost products. The garments very cheap. So it's not that elastic, to income. So in that sense, we don't foresee a big shock to Cambodian export in that.
Okay. Good. So okay, one down. What do you see the other major, sort of like player that Cambodia do have a strong relation with the U.S., China, Japan. For sure, the EU we see a dampening down of growth and everything. But China is our neighbor, and they reach a sort of normal now.
That's a fantastic question. So everybody focus on China now. China is such a big player. You're right. The China is transitioning. So China's growth model is transitioning to more like consumption and service-based, other than this export investment-driven model they used to have. So that actually posed significant risks to the world economy. But the impact is imbalanced.
Yes.
For commodity exporters, definitely it's negative. But for some other countries like Cambodia, the low-cost producer, China's exit to the low value-added manufacturing export open up opportunities.
Yes.
So in that sense, China's transitioning. It helps to Cambodian to move up the value chain, to take up the opportunity. But that being said, there are a lot of things Cambodia needs to do to improve competitiveness, to capitalize those opportunities. That being said, we have to know, as you mentioned, China plays increasing role in Cambodia's economic growth. China is Cambodian's largest creditor, like the foreign concessional loans, grants, and China is Cambodia's largest investor. China is the largest source of FDI for Cambodia.
As well as increasing tourism also.
Exactly. So if China's slowdown is sharper than expected, that could pose,
but we are quite small, no, in relative term, no. Even with China's slowdown, we're too small to. It's not like we're dealing with a big country like Thailand or Malaysia is quite big, right? So for us, we're quite small. So even with China's slowdown, I still feel that we, as China, good friend, I still expect to see more investment coming in, more tourism coming in. In fact, I see a lot of interest from Chinese airline, new airline. So these guys, they wouldn't invest to have more planes to fly to Cambodia if they don't see an uptake of tourist interest. What do you think of that?
So that's a good point. So on the baseline, if everything goes as normal as a current trend, we don't foresee a big slowdown of China. What we are talking is it's a downside risk. It's significant. Slower growth than expected. It's not like 6, 7. It's much lower than that. That definitely will pose shocks to Cambodia through this FDI channel, tourist channel, and banking channel. Also, China banks also plays key role here.
The banking, they're more institutional lending, right? Lending to another bank, and the bank will on land and retail, right? So they don't do actually retail banking much now.
Oh, some banks. Not some banks they do the retail, some banks they do the wholesale, different model. But that's a potential channel of spillover of China's slowdown.
Okay. So, but otherwise, so far so good now. So far so good.
Yes, baseline. Very good, very strong growth.
What do you see in the U.S. with the election and everything, their monetary policy, what do you see the impact on Cambodia?
The U.S. is a Cambodian's second largest export destination. So what concerns us is not growth. The U.S. growth and recovery actually strong, one of the strongest among advanced economies. What's concerning is like the increasing sentiment of protectionism. Anti-trade, anti-globalization.
Building
that
the wall.
Persists. Cambodia
is a very
building
the wall.
It's a very open economy. So that sentiment, not just U.S., it's actually globally. It's like increasing. That kind of protectionism will hurt Cambodia. But not just in the U.S. though. Although it's more accentuated with the presidential election. But in many other countries, there's this sense of, I would call I would say they don't call protectionist, right? But, they find other way, but in fact it is a sort of protectionism. Japan, what do you think of that? So Japan's growth still slow, sluggish. And all the economic stimulus doesn't seem to improve the prospect dramatically. So it's still a long way to go. And the quantitative easing, the fiscal stimulus will continue.
Okay.
So
so I think it's good to have a good perspective of the major player that will have a direct impact on Cambodia, right? But I want now to shift a bit more toward the home, which is Cambodia. You've been here a year and 3 months. It's quite a while, so I think you have a good perspective already. After the short break, I want to start looking at the issue relating to Cambodia economic performance. How about that?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
So we'll take a short break then. Sarah, okay, let's come home, back to Cambodia. A year and 3 months in, you're well settled. You get to meet most of the key, I would say, counterpart with Ministry of Finance, Central Bank. You're based there already. You have a chance to meet many people in the government, then in the private sector. What's your feeling?
I feel very encouraged, impressed.
Okay. Give me a few pointers why you feel that way.
Cambodia is a small, low-income country.
Yes.
So I think maybe my expectation is low.
Yes.
But whatever I've seen in the past 1 year and 3 months really, changed my completely changed my perspective. All my counterparts, major counterparts.
Yes.
I think they were enthusiastic, they're motivated, they're very engaged. I can see the passion of them to working for the country to move up the income ladder, and all the policies, all the programs in the pipeline. I know their struggles, I know their aspirations, so we're here to help. But in this I think in this development, I learned a lot myself. I really got impressed, not just me, our team, from Asia Pacific Department, from our technical assistance department, also from our management. I think everybody, when they came here to talk to the policymakers or other people, they feel impressed. Cambodian, to be honest, I think surpassed other countries.
Thanks. And economically speaking, we're doing okay.
Doing strong. Right? So Cambodians growth average almost 8% in past 20 years. One of the fastest growth economy in the world. So you benefit a lot of the global value chain.
And that's why we see a steady decrease of poverty. Right? So quite impressive.
From 50% in 2005 to 18% 2012. That's impressive.
And now it's about what, 14 or something?
The latest data we have is 18%.
18%.
So that's pretty good.
Serious, pretty good,
So our projection is growth remains strong in 2016, 17, around 7%. And inflation ticked up a little bit. And
why? Because of the food price. Food price. The drought, the flood, climate change related?
I guess so, part of that, but some other reasons, right? The agriculture sector is under pressure, and but moderate, right? I think the inflation risk is moderate. So our baseline outlook, very positive.
Okay. Well, I mean, from the credit perspective, you can see, well, you've been here a year and 3 months, but I like to say, if you go back a little bit, maybe 2 years before your arrival, we see this uptake of this boom in the construction industry, the condo, the retail and everything. I mean, I would say there's a lot of credit that's been extended to the consumer. Don't you think it's a little bit, high credit volume there?
So let's continue. I thought we mentioned about the basic outlook. It's positive. But
I like the but.
There are significant downside risks with that positive outlook. Number one, domestic risk is a rapid credit growth. Increasingly financed by external borrowing and concentrate to the real estate sector. So that poses the financial sector and economy in vulnerable situation.
But the thing that amazed me is that the foreign lender, they still want to lend to local banks, local MFI. Maybe they see something, no?
The party is still on, right? The economy still grows strong, right? 7%. Where can you find the economy growth?
You're right.
7%. So it's still on the upstream. So nothing shows. Okay, only when you go to downturn,
But the risk is there. It's clear. The risk is there.
Yes, you think, right? So the credit growth average 30% year on year in the past 3 years. So your credit over GDP late last year it's already 62%, which is higher than median emerging market countries. It's twice the level of low-income countries, your peer group. So this financial deepening is really exceed economic fundamentals.
I see. But on the other hand, Sarah, we talk a lot about financial inclusion, right? Here, are we talking about the same thing, financial inclusion for everybody, or just for a mid-level, middle income who have access to high credit, and still the lower strata of people still don't have access to credit?
Financial inclusion is a broader concept. It means a formal financial access. You use the credit access to the finance by geography, by different income level, and by different gender. And it's a very important policy objective because it helps to reduce poverty, improve the income, also help to economic development. So he's saying here, like many other countries, I think our government consider it a key objective. For Cambodian, it's an interesting thing. It's a financial deepening. Actually, doesn't expand the financial inclusion. So the credit growth mostly, channeled to the 20% something population. It's microfinancial institutions, which has much less the total asset, but cover a bigger audience of customers, like 5 times the customers than the commercial banks. But that's also a lot of risk.
Because microfinance are not as regulated as commercial bank, no?
Yes, you're right. Because some of them very big. They just behave like banks. They take deposits, right? Same client basis, but they subject to much loose regulation.
So that is another downside that we have to be careful. No?
The Cambodian, you have to think you're different. A lot of countries they experience credit growth, rapid credit growth. Actually, a lot of them doesn't end well. Cambodian, especially. Alertful is like your dollarized economy. So you have to keep it into mind. And those MFIs, they heavily relied on external funding. Like 50% of the liabilities is
it's in dollar, right?
Yes. So when something happens,
good, bad,
you have to think.
All right.
Can help.
Yes, indeed. I want to touch a bit on the fact that Cambodia this year we have graduate up to a lower middle income country, and I think by default this graduation mean that we will have less attention from ODA, from foreign help, right? So we have to make up somehow that reduction. What's your take on that?
So that's a commendable achievement. Cambodia achieved the lower middle income status this year, but that's not necessarily mean Cambodian just being after the concessional loans. Because concessional loans are depending on the low income developing country status, which is by United Nations. Cambodian just reached the per capita part. There are some other indicators you still fall short of. So it's I think another couple of years. So you fully graduate from the low-income country status.
So we still can benefit from all these trade preferences.
But it's on the way, right? Eventually, you'll graduate. That's your target too. So you should get prepared now. So continue to improve the revenue mobilization to create fiscal space to finance the development spending, and also safeguard the debt sustainability.
It's interesting you mentioned about resource mobilization. Last month I attended the tax forum organized by Eurocham and the Director General of Tax, Kung Bo, was there, and he gave a very good expose on his reform, right? And he showed me all this number, the reform. I think he's doing a good job, no? In terms of revenue mobilization.
That's impressive, remarkable improvement. The tax revenue over GDP almost 15% increased by average 0.8% GDP every year. That's remarkable, and especially remarkable is a purely administrative improvement. So they strengthened the audit, real collection.
No, you show me the ISO certificate, right? That when the ISO come to audit his IT operational function, everything. Very impressive.
Very impressive.
I think it's the first government department who obtained an ISO certificate.
That's quite an achievement, but going forward, more challenging.
More challenging.
Because now the level is high, right?
Yes,
the low-hanging fruit is picked.
Yeah.
So if you want to sustain this kind of growth,
you have to climb the mango trees to the next level.
Yeah, institution reform needed to maintain this kind of performance.
So it's there. So he's on the right track. Any other area that we need to look upon to ensure that sustainability?
So that's the first phase of RMI's revenue model strategy. Next phase is the overall tax system reform.
Yes.
So I think a government thinking to the tax system, not just improve the administration. That's a continued needed. But on the other hand, the tax structure, like tax rates. So to improve the effectiveness and efficiency.
I see the recent trend. Even when President Xi Jinping was here, that we signed MOU on this double taxation. We did a couple months ago with Singapore. I think India is looking for that double taxation treaty. Will it have an impact on our revenue?
So depends. Depends. If those double tax treaty can attract more FDIs, revenue might increase.
Yes, okay.
But you have to be careful, right, to monitor it carefully, so don't create loopholes.
Yes. Okay.
But definitely, I think it's a improvement, and it helps to improve the business environment. And make the tax system more attractive.
Yeah. So it's more a macro policy incentive, right? For FDI. Okay. Fine. But in terms of there's one thing to collect tax to improve the system, but I think as a whole, the economy, we have to diversify for sure. I think our growth base is too small. Garment, footwear, we move now to light manufacturing, but that's not enough.
I think diversification is happening, but as you mentioned, very slow. So a lot of work need to be done to expedite this process by improving the competitiveness of Cambodia. A lot of opportunities for you, right? The geography location of Cambodia is favorable. In the fast-growing, region of the world, and China's ongoing transition
the China factor.
So opening up a lot of low-end manufacturing exports. And also this continued regional integration from AEC. So a lot of opportunities for Cambodia. What you need to do is just improve your competitiveness to grab those opportunities.
I think speaking of the China factor, it's quite interesting because I think in last March of this year there was a summit, the first Mekong Land China summit in Sanya Island, where one of the declarations was about the productive capacity, building the productive capacity of the Mekong region. And I think Cambodia is right in the heart of the Mekong region. So I see this will help Cambodia improve or at least enhance our production capacity, right? On the competitiveness, I want to touch a bit on what makes us competitive, right? I know a lot of investors scream when they see the electricity rate, right? Productivity is something else, right? I mean, we just have a wage increase. How does it affect the overall competitiveness of the nation? We'll do that when we come back from the break. Okay. Thanks. Sarah, okay, let's focus on the how to make Cambodia more competitive, right? I think electricity rate for sure is one. But again, back to the China factor, because of this hydro that's been built, investor complain that with the new wage increase, the Cambodian productivity is not there yet. The improving the business investment climate, that sort of thing. Give me your view on how you see Cambodia could really, in the context of the ASEAN Economic Community, where we have to compete with our neighbor, right? Improve our competitiveness.
So you mentioned the wage. Wage actually is, I think, one of the most important factors for the low-end exports. manufacturing exports. And Cambodians' wage, as you mentioned, if the wage increase cannot match surpass the productivity improvement, that really hurt competitiveness. So that's a important variable. You have to be monitored closely. You don't want to become more expensive than other low-cost producers. That's a sector. That sector, government is highly substitutable. The competition is brutal.
Yes.
A lot of emerging, producers down the road.
Yes. Bangladesh.
Right? So that's key. And other than the wage, you have other, costs, right? The wage itself might still be okay, but thinking about electricity, as you mentioned. Thinking about transportation, thinking about the skill gap.
You're right.
Those all the package makes the country competitive.
It's quite interesting because I think when you deal with machinery, it's easy, right? You build a power plant, okay? It's a matter about raising the money, get the right technology, you build a nice power plant, right? Okay, the right consulting firm, the right construction firm, you're okay. But when you deal with wage, you're dealing with human. You're dealing with 500,000 workers. You're dealing with union. I mean, and they tend to be very emotional. I mean, all this wage negotiation, I find very tense in terms of emotional outbursts, that sort of thing. But again, at the end of the day, if you cannot improve your productivity, you cannot keep raising the wage over the years. Right? Yeah. But at least I see one thing that is we are doing good, which is the power generation. I think more of this hydro is coming online, so the rate keep going down, right? But skill, where do you see we could do to improve the skill, the vocational training, that sort of thing? Are we on track in talking with other development partners like ADB, the World Bank, UN? Have they worked quite a bit on that?
IMF, we're not expert on this education. What we see is just the big picture, the part of the competitiveness indicators. You need to address the skill gap to improve the overall education and the vocational training. And I think the government has done a lot. We talked to Excellency, there's the Minister of Education, and we talked to other developing partners. They're all helping. But that's a most implementation aspiration there. How fast you can improve. That makes difference.
Okay. So skill. How about the doing business aspect? I know we have the industrial development policy, which was launched last year. It does have a very specific focus on helping SME to get into the supply chain, production chain. What is your take on the SME, the role of SME in Cambodia economic development?
SME plays an important role generating employment in Cambodia and in other places. And but economic speaking, what's the best way to help them? That's under debate. So I think if you just give them some incentive for them to keep staying small, that's not good.
That's not good.
What is helpful? You create an inducive environment to help them to grow. You simplify the tax system for them to register and to produce, lower this operating cost and improve the regulatory environment. Those are the measures we actually might recommend. It's not like you create some incentive, like they got a special treatment, which might not be helpful. May create a track for them to stay small, to stay informal. So that's the route you don't want to go. Okay. So overall, SMEs at the beginning they might need some support, special attention. The government can create a special, whatever framework environment to help, but market based.
I see.
It's not like artificially to just create that loop trap.
I have a metaphor for that. During the day when we negotiate the WTO accession, my view at that time was say, look, that time we were quite weak, right? And we reach out a lot to, getting technical assistance, capacity building, because my metaphor is like, okay, you're an athlete, okay, and you have to jump across that bar, right? I think it's better to get good help, to make you a better athlete, so that you can jump higher, than giving a break to say, look, can you lower the bar so that I can just jump over without making effort?
I love your metaphor.
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah, that's it. So take advantage the fact that we are still in this, sort of like a lower category of, economic status, that there are help available, but get that help to make you a better athlete, so that later on, once you become a strong athlete, you can jump on your own, right?
That's perfect. And the overall business environment, climate, the reduction of cost of doing business helps to SMEs. That's what government's role, right? To cut energy cost, to improve the infrastructure links, reduce logistic costs. All that helps SMEs to grow. And the regulatory legal framework, of course.
I mentor quite a bit the young entrepreneur, and I find that it's quite exciting to see that in the last several years, they even as small as they are, they start to think more in terms of things like a big company, in the sense that, look, they care for the community, they want to do corporate social responsibility, even though they're small, right? You look at the Brown Coffee, right? They have activity to support Cambodian art, young artists, that sort of thing. I think it's quite a revelation in the sense that this globalized world gives them a lot of ideas. You don't have to be a multinational to start thinking of a corporate social responsibility. And to me, to see these young Cambodian already having that sense of community, of nation, is very helpful.
That's impressive. I have the same kind of impression. The young, what I encounter a lot more is young officials in the ministries, in the government agencies. I admire them, and actually I told them they are very lucky at such a young age. They can shoulder a lot of big responsibility. They can help shape the country's future. So that kind of sense of pride, it's really encouraging.
Good. Well, Sarah, I think we, unfortunately, even 45 minutes is not long enough for a topic as big as global growth, regional economy, let alone there's a whole country of Cambodia there. But I want to say thank you for coming and share your perspective, fresh perspective from somebody who's just been here a year and 3 months. You cover quite well the base, and personally, I think it gives the audience quite a good perspective on where the country fares, but also give a sense of hope that the future looks good. But we need to persevere. We need to tackle, at least from what I get from what you say, is that don't sit on your laurel. That's what I get. That you're doing fine, but there's still a lot of downside risks that we must tackle. Resource mobilization is great, automation, improving the collection system is great, but you got to look at the structural reform of the tax system, diversification of the economy, tackling competitiveness. These are all the message I got from you, which I think is a long-term process. But at least the other thing I got from you is that, yes, but the actors are motivated.
Exactly. That's a very good summary. I feel impressed. So that's basically our message. Cambodia has done a great job, but a lot of opportunities, waiting for you. So you have to improve yourself, safeguard, financial, secure financial stability, and improve the competitiveness. So you can capitalize those good opportunities to move to the next phase of development.
I think we're coming to the end of the program, and I hope you learned something out of it. For entrepreneur, you heard the message that, look, you play a big role in helping this economy grow. You need to work harder to become formal. And those are already in a formal sector. You need to start looking at the compliance, how to become a good corporate citizen, because at the end of the day, you are the anchor of the Cambodian growth. So on that note, good night. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you for the show, okay?
Thank you. It's my honor being here.
Yes, thank you.